Center. It's Todd Milewski with the Badgers wrap-up for Saturday, October 9th. The Badgers get swept by Michigan Tech 5-1 in Saturday's game after a 5-2 loss on Friday. It was another game where the Badgers got out-competed in pretty much every area of the game, which is something that Tony Granado talked about afterwards and Tark Baker talked about afterwards as something that they found surprising given last year and the kind of things that they'd been able to establish last season. I think maybe the difference right now is just that it's coming to grips with the fact that this isn't that they can't play the way that they played last season. I think they were able to cover for an awful lot with the talent they had last season, and that's just not the case at all right now for the Badgers. Tech led 3-0 after one period, 5-0 after two, and that, I mean, it was, you could see it after the third goal in the first period in the last minute, the second power play goal of the opening period to make it 3-0. That was going to be a lot for the Badgers to overcome the way that they have started this season. I mean, it's only 2 games, but you're seeing a lot of, and I talked about this last night, a lot of tendencies that are not good signs. You're seeing some work habits that need to be challenged, I think. And it sounds like that's going to be what is going to happen after this weekend in what's going to be a short week for the Badgers here. They play Army West Point Thursday and Friday, so they'll just get Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday instead of the normal Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to practice before that series opens up. And I think it's worth noting that Michigan Tech came in here and kind of bullied around the Badgers, setting a blueprint, the blueprint for what other teams can try to do to Wisconsin. And Army is a team that I don't know if there's a work ethic like Army's in college hockey. Maybe the talent level isn't as high as you're going to see on other teams, but you're gonna see a team that's going to come in here and work. And if the Badgers aren't ready for that, shame on them, really, because after this week they should have a taste of what a team needs to do in college hockey, because it was what Michigan Tech did this weekend to get 2 wins. I should say the first sweep by Michigan Tech in Madison since 1974, and only the second ever. The other was in 1933. So it tells you a little bit about how rare it was what we saw this weekend. The Badgers are 0-2 for the first time since 2014, and that was the team that started 0-8 on the road to 4-26-5. The kind of season you never really want to be connected with, but that's a little bit of where things stand right now. And there's some disappointment, I think is probably the right word, with how this turned out. Tark Baker asked him after the game what needed to be done to address what happened in getting out-competed 2 nights in a row, and he said if they're not going to do it in a game, they're having to start teaching that in practice this week. So it's going to be a hard, battling week of practice in those few days. He said to play college hockey, it's not going out there and just hoping and wishing things are going to go your way. You've got to make your chances. You've got to create your chances. They don't just happen, which is, the reality, yes. I think that there's a lot of times we hear the right things after series like this happen. In the past, that's been the way it's gone. But sometimes there just hasn't been the proof in backing it up. And so when Tarek Baker says that he's the captain, that message is going to come. I'm sure it did starting in the locker room after tonight's game, but they're going to hear that a lot this week, that, they cannot be outcompeted this season. I think that there's an understanding now that, there's nothing comes easy. Not that it ever should be, thought that anything does in college hockey, but when you get hit like this a couple of times, that message better sink in pretty quickly. There was a couple of Wisconsin natives that put Michigan Tech on the board tonight. Trenton Bliss, the former Badger commit from Appleton, scored a power play goal just about 12 minutes in to make it 1-0, and Alec Bretzman scored a few minutes after that, an even strength goal. He's from Hudson, to make it 2-0, and then, like I mentioned, the one to make it 3-0 in the last minute of the first period was really the one that probably wrapped this one up tonight. Another power play goal, and those two power play goals came off of plays that penalty calls that just didn't need to be taken by the Badgers. The first one was by Dominic Mersch, the cross-checking call after a whistle may have been sold a little bit by Ryland Mosley, the Michigan Tech player who absorbed the cross-check, but it was a cross-check and got called. The Bliss scored on that one, and then Carson Kuhlman's took a slashing penalty behind the play as he's going to the bench for a change, and he got noticed and got called, and so that's when Tyrone Bronte scored in the final minute off of that. So just the kind of mistakes that you can't make against a team that you're already having struggles with. I think that goes without saying that bad penalties always seem to cost you, and that definitely happened in the first period to the Badgers tonight. Let me get to a couple of the questions that have popped in here. Brent asks, is this series more of Tech is kind of sort of good, or did Wisconsin lose that much and is rebuilding? Michigan Tech is good in the way that I think we saw probably Bemidji State being good last season. In the CCHA, that's going to take me a while to remember to call it the CCHA and not the WCHA. Minnesota State is the front runner, and then there's a few teams coming in right after them, and I think Michigan Tech has a chance to be in that next grouping and challenging for one of those spots, because it's a veteran team. It's a team that when they play like this, when they play like we saw this weekend, that identity can beat a lot of teams. It's there are a few teams in the CCHA that have that same kind of thing. So it's kind of when they go head to head, that's an interesting matchup there. But if Tech can do this to other teams, and if they can do this to Wisconsin, that they'll be able to do this to a lot of teams. And so I think that should be said, that yes, Tech is going to be a pretty good team this season. But I don't think you can rule out that the Badgers made it a little bit too easy on them to do what they wanted to do this weekend. And that goes to just the preparedness, the willingness to battle in front of the net, making crisp plays. We didn't see a lot of that through the weekend from the Badgers, and Tech jumped all over that. And so, credit them for coming in here, believing in the way that they play and going out and doing it. So that's I don't know if that really answers that question, but that's probably a question we'll be tracking throughout the year. What we saw this weekend, was it the reality of either of these teams? So it'll be good to see that in a few months, I guess. Jim mentions that Ashan was almost non-existent. Seems like he might need to step up and help with some effort, toughness, and help give this team some identity. he was, I don't remember noticing a whole lot. There were a couple plays that he set up. I believe he set up Brock Caulfield for a chance in front. In the second period on a power play for a one-timer. That one got saved. There's that fine line for Roman Ashan, right? That there always has been between being aggressive and being over-aggressive, and I wonder whether he's, dealing with that himself on how far he can go, because we saw it last Sunday in Chippewa Falls. He went a little bit too far, made a hit after the horn that got penalized and got him tossed for the rest of the game. When you dial it back, maybe it didn't reach up to the level that he needs to be playing at to throw that grit in there, the kind of things that we saw out of Tech and battling for the puck and winning the puck. So that's a good point, I think. Any silver linings, Rick asks. Well, there's 32 more games to go. I do believe the Badgers will be better than this the rest of the way. I just the thing that I can't kind of wrap my head around is it shouldn't take these kind of efforts from a team that throws out how many juniors and seniors they had in the lineup this weekend, to know that they're going to be that there's a way they're going to have to play against a team like Michigan Tech. It shouldn't take getting beat like this 2 games in a row, 5-2 and 5-1, to draw something out of them. And that goes back to what I quoted Tark Baker saying, that if it's not going to happen in games, it's now going to have to happen in practice. That they're going to have to battle each other and for lack of a better term, take the gloves off, I guess. That's. I will be interested to see what kind of team comes out on Thursday against Army, because there is it's been put out there now that this is unacceptable for them, and if it keeps popping up, then you really got to start looking inward at what the makeup of the team is, and who's making making the calls here, and who's pushing buttons. So we'll keep tabs on that through the rest of this season here. I think that's just about going to wrap it up here. Silver lining, the Badgers did get Ben Garrity in the game tonight, which they've been trying to do, they say, for the last, since last season. Ben Garrity's a sophomore. He didn't in goal. He didn't play last season, so this was his first collegiate appearance tonight. Played the last 3:15. Didn't have to face a shot. So, that's something, but it also tells you that because they played 3 goalies tonight, that's usually not a good sign in a game that's not, your senior night or something like that, where you're trying to give everyone a chance. Although I will say, I'd asked Jared Moe a question in the post-game press conference here, and after that was done, and I asked Tark Baker another question, he stopped and wanted to say that, this was not the fault of the goalies. This was on the forwards and defensemen for allowing chances right in front of the net. And I thought that was a revealing thing for the captain to come out and say that. Now we'll see whether it turns into anything more than that as these next few weeks go. Because the Badgers play Army here next week, then they go to St. Cloud, one of the top teams in the country, defending national runner-up. Then they go to Michigan, one of the top teams in the country, the most talented team in the country. Then they have Minnesota coming here, one of the top teams in the country. Big Ten favorites, defending Big Ten playoff champions. So there, if this doesn't get straightened out quick, the record could go south fast, and that would be tough to recover from. So let's see where this goes, and whether the Badgers get back, get in the win column next week against Army. We'll be here at the Kohl Center for that. Make sure you follow that on madison.com and in the State Journal. We'll have more stuff coming this week. Make sure you're checking out our subscription offer, $1 for 6 months, carrying you through the rest of hockey season. Make sure to check out that on madison.com/members/join. So thanks for joining me here tonight. We'll catch you after Thursday night's game against Army. Take care.